Welcome to SVG TV News for Monday, March 27th, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The ruling Unity Labour Party, ULP, headed by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, on Sunday, March 26, 2023, celebrated 22 years in government here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a large rally at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac at Annisville. The rally was punctuated with a packed entertainment package featuring several local and overseas acts, including Skinny Fabulous, Logic, Nyla Blackman, Mighty Gabby, and Fireman Hooper. At the start of his address, party leader, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, thanked the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the support over the years.
Comrades and friends of Labour, warriors of the Unity Labour Party, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, whom I love dearly, and to whom and for whom I have dedicated my entire life of service. And I shall continue to do so until the good Lord comes for me. Until I leave the earthly city for the heavenly one. You can be assured, you are assured, and you will ever be assured that I am there with you. I love you, and when I look into your eyes, you know how I feel with you. When I touch you, you know how I feel. We have been together in the highs. We have been together on the mountaintop. We have been together in the valleys. We have been at times of difficulties. We have been at times when we experience weaknesses and limitations. But we are there always with our strengths and our possibilities to lift St. Vincent and the Grenadines higher.
Noting that the ULP is a party of unity and caring, Prime Minister Gonsalves extended an olive branch to those whom he said sometimes get frustrated and want to leave the party. Dr. Gonsalves also paid tribute to stalwarts of the party, including retirees and those who have passed on. Deeming them as the foundation of Labour, he pointed out that it was the Labour Party that led St. Vincent and the Grenadines to independence under the leadership of Milton Cato.
Stay home. Let's stay together. The journey is not yet over. Come home. Let's be together. The beginning is to come home. The next is to stay together. And then to work together in success, in solidarity, for all our hopes and all our dreams and all that we desire in our families, in our individual lives, and in our nation. It is the NDP which opposed independence. It is Ebenezer Joshua, for all the good he did earlier, he opposed independence. It is the Unity Labour Party predecessor, the Labour Party, and ULIMO and UPM, and the broad mass of people in this country who stood for independence. And you, recognizing that, the successor party, the Unity Labour Party, we have been in government now for more than half of the time that our country has been independent. We have built independent St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The Prime Minister also used the opportunity to urge those in the audience to make full use of their talents and the opportunities available.
You can't bury your talent. You can't bury your ability. You have to work. If you don't have a job today, you have to look for something to do. You have an ability, you have to train. Take advantage of the opportunities for training. Primary education, secondary education, technical education, college, university, and all the opportunities are there. Technical and vocational education, they are all there. Do not bury your talent. in this new world, in this new period of the evolution of the world civilization, of the global economy, you need a skill. Do not bury your talent. You bury your talent which the God has given to you, He will not be pleased. We have to take care of our families and be with our families in unity, and we have to take care especially of the young males. The mothers and fathers have to make sure, because before the state, before government came into existence, the family came. The family. And we have to make sure that the family is well supported, that we provide for the family the sustenance. But the government can't create good families. Those in the families have to do that so that we can deal better with this monster of crime that comes into the hearts, into the bosom, especially of a small minority of young males.
Touting his party's achievements in government over the past 22 years and what is there to come, PM Gonzalez told the gathering that they have a lot more to do for the country and he would not want to leave an unfinished task behind.
And I will tell you this, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. You ain't here yet, all it is sweet. There's many more sweet things to hear from the comrade and many more things to be accomplished. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Reminding you all the time, the older the fiddle, the sweeter the tune. Between 2022, that is last year, and 2026, because towards the end of March 2026 is when the elections are constitutionally due at their outer limit. And between now and then, we in this government already have lined up nearly 3 billion, not million, you know, 3 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars worth of capital projects, which are over $1 million each. I ain't talking about those under $1 million. I only deal with those over $1 million. You check them up. We have the money lined up already. So what you're seeing taking place now, prepare yourself, get your skills, because the projects are rolling out, and this is only through the government.
The Prime Minister also spoke about the country's engagement strategy 2022-2026, which is expected to be launched this week and is funded by the Caribbean Development Bank at a cost of $88.4 million. He said the strategy will support the implementation of the development agenda of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the areas of agriculture, private sector development, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, social protection, education, physical infrastructure development, energy, climate change resilience, and disaster risk management. A surprise guest appearance was made at the ULP's rally last evening by Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett, who described Prime Minister Gonzalez as the best Prime Minister in the entire world.
Raul Gonzalez is the true world boss, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines a real gem in Comrade Gonzalez. A true patriot, a decent gentleman, and someone who will stand by you all the time, especially in difficult times. I have, ladies and gentlemen, been following Comrade Gonzalez way back when I was in primary school, listening to his speeches back in the days, and following him up until today as the Prime Minister of this country. And Prime Minister Gonzalez has really brought pride and joy not only to you, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but every single Caribbean country. I can say to you, I have been to numerous conferences and summits with Comrade Ralph. And every leader in every country, no matter how big or small, they respect Ralph Gonzalez, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And when he takes to the microphones, every man jack listens to Prime Minister Gonzalez, because he comes to us as a true teacher, and we listen and we take notes of what Prime Minister Gonzalez is sharing with us. So I am here tonight with my wife to celebrate a great man and a great party, Gonzalez and the ULP.
And in reference to the appeal of the High Court's ruling in the vaccine mandate case won by the public sector unions, Prime Minister Gonzalez reiterated at a ULP celebration rally last evening that while the appeal process has taken place, the workers who were deemed to have abandoned their jobs just need to indicate that they are interested in coming back, and the necessary arrangements will be made for them to do so with all benefits intact.
That since July last year, even before July last year, don't be stubborn. Don't allow anybody to mislead you. You can come back while the case, the appeal still goes on, and if in fact we get the stay in the execution of the judgment. I know that many have come back. Over 50 have come back. And there are others who are interested in coming back. But some don't want to come back for reasons of theology. Some don't want to come back for reasons of politics. Some don't want to come back because they're working elsewhere and they're hoping to get a judgment so they could get paid for the time they weren't working. So they will double dip. And some of them genuinely feel they have a principle at stake. But I'm reaching out in love and unity to all of them. And I want them to know the position of the government. You know, we consider that the judgment was a wrong judgment. They made a lot of mistakes. And all I will say about the judgment is this. Woe to you, teachers of the law and the Pharisees. You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. Those are not my words. Those are the amended words in the book of Matthew chapter 23, verse 25 and verse 26. I just want everyone to know that this government and this Prime Minister has no bad-mindedness, no malice, just love and caring.
Meanwhile, at a virtual rally hosted by the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, last Thursday, lawyer K. Bacchus Batiste said it is foolhardy that the ULP government is seeking to appeal the High Court's ruling handed down in the vaccine mandate case and is also seeking a stay of execution, noting that it is against the will of the people.
When you appeal and you apply for a stay of execution, it is not automatic. There's an uphill battle. First of all, the first cardinal principle is that litigants who win must enjoy the fruits of the judgment. It means that in the case of the teachers, where the judge ordered that they should go back to work and they should get their salary and they should get their back pay, etc., they should enjoy that. And you have to come very high to convince a court that the litigant should not enjoy the fruits of the judgment. Having said that, even if you file your stay of application, you have to also convince the judge that you have a reasonable case to argue. That is the lowest limb, a reasonable prospect of success. You must overcome the limb that if you don't get a stay, your appeal will be rendered nugatory, meaning that makes no sense appealing, and also that you would be ruined.
Bacchus Batiste said in the application for the stay of execution of the judgment, the government's legal team put forward the argument that it will suffer or be exposed to injustice and irreparable harm if a stay is not given.
Is it the Commissioner of Police who appeal here? Or is it the Public Service Commission or the Attorney General? Who will suffer irreparable harm? It has to be the people. It has to be the teachers. But their ground is that the government will suffer injustice. Next, they said, the appellant's appeal will be rendered nugatory if a stay is not granted. The respondents will secure all that was awarded by the judge before the appeal is even heard by the Court of Appeal, and the state will be unlikely to recover the funds paid to the respondents. Now, this is a non-argument. This is what they're saying, hoping to hoodwink the Court of Appeal, that if the stay is not granted, then the monies that we pay out to the teachers who come to work and the back pay, we will not be able to collect it back. But I ask this question, whose money? Secondly, wouldn't the teachers be working? So if they're working and you pay them a salary, you want to get it back? It is absolutely ridiculous to use that as a ground that the appeal would be rendered nugatory. Now, they may have a little point that if the back pay is paid, then they may not be able to get it back. But the point, as I said again, who put them on the breadline? Who put them out of a job for all these months? And why should they suffer the injustice, but the government not suffer the injustice?
The veteran lawyer said another argument put forward by the government's legal team for a stay of execution is that the implementation of the court orders prior to the determination of the appeal will cause severe disruption in the public service, as those now occupying the various posts will have to be removed to facilitate the order of the learned judge before the hearing of the appeal.
Now tell me, this is not only disrespectful of the court order, it is disingenuous. Let me read what Ralph Gonsalves said just a few days ago at a Agency for Public Information. He said, the Prime Minister, the government has repeatedly called unvaccinated teachers to reapply for their positions within the system with benefits intact. He said, the Prime Minister again urged teachers to reapply to enter the service, noting that unvaccinated teachers can now return simply because the threat has receded. How are you going to tell the Court of Appeal that you have no space? This is what he's saying. There is no space. Let me read what he said there again. He said it will cause severe disruption to bring them back in the public service, as those now occupying the posts will have to be removed to facilitate the order of the judge. This, what I just read to you, was said on the 20th of March, speaking out of two sides of his mouth. Let me tell you, this appeal is not legal. This appeal is only political. Gonsalves and his government thinks that the judge is only right when they win. If they don't win, they will do everything to frustrate. I've even heard them mention going to the Privy Council. So, how long are these teachers supposed to wait and other civil servants before they go back out to work? If you're going to apply for a stay of execution, you have to be honest, you have to disclose everything, you have to be full and frank.
And opposition MP for Central Kingston, Sinclair Leacock, suggested that the ULP is waging a war against the labor movement.
But it is the reality. It is you, Oswald, that I've been listening to, and you have made the point. It's probably the first time in the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the labor movement, the trade union movement, the workers' representative, the workers of the poor, downtrodden, working class in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And in your case, has had to take the government to court on 3 successive occasions and won them in the courts every single time that you took them to the courts. And truth be told, any government that had a reasonable amount of decency among them would have demitted office. They would have come to the realization that it's time to go. What's the Constitution? The highest law of the land. That's what it is. The highest law of the land. And a judge looks at the government and the Prime Minister and he says, you are not respecting nor obeying the highest law of the land. Serious indictment, Daniel. Enough reasons for Vincent to wise up and rise up.
Leacock also suggested that the vaccine mandate, which was deemed as unconstitutional, as highlighted in the court's ruling, is nothing new to the government.
Enough reasons for Vincent to wise up and rise up. I pause on that court ruling and the unconstitutionality spoken of there with respect to the vaccine mandate. Because it is so easy for Vincentians to conclude or come to the belief that is a one-off experience or just a slip in administration attention to details. But the fact of the matter is that the unconstitutional way is the way for the Unity Labour Party. Not just the mandate. We brought to the Parliament already by way of question and had the answers. They were an unlawful government. They spent over $100 million worth of money without the express approval of Parliament. The Minister of Finance apologized. Said it won't happen again. Dr. Friday came back right behind that and asked them to account for the overdraft monies. Up to today, they are still unable to present a proper explanation for their actions. And when they have gone sky high with the overdraft, they just convert it into a loan without the approval of the Parliament.
Speaking on the National Insurance Services, the NIS, and the bipartisan support being called for to deal with pension reform, the opposition MP said no such level of cooperation will be given.
NIS is in trouble after 22 years, and they come into we to ask to clean up that mess. Never happen. We know what we have to do, but we'll do that when we're in government. That was the first question. They broke the law over 22 years on NS. And only when the bottom drop out, you come into the New Democratic Party for cooperation. Same people who say you used to want to look prime ministerial, you know. The same man who say you ain't talking to Friday. They want Friday help now. You just warned us once, twice, 3 times, too many times about fooling around with NIS. But that wasn't the end game. I asked, is it correct that in 10 years' time, NIS would not be able to honor its responsibilities to pensioners? And again, he said yes, by the year 2033, 34, NIS would not have enough money to pay people their pension when they came. You know what he said? But government will have to bail them out. Just imagine, just think about that. And you know why that is so? Because of contributory negligence. by the Unity Labour Party administration.
We heard that the Traffic Department of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force on Friday, March 24, 2023, hosted its annual award ceremony to acknowledge outstanding officers for their work. The ceremony was held under the theme, "Where there is a will, there is a way." In his address at the ceremony, head of the Traffic Department, Assistant Superintendent of Police Panel Brown, said in 2022 they recorded a decrease in road fatalities and road accidents, and they hope the numbers will continue to fall in 2023.
In 2022, we have seen a decrease in the amount of road accidents reported to the police and also road fatalities. We are, however, striving for a year where we will see no road fatality. Traffic collision is almost certain, as the amount of motor vehicles have increased on our roads. The probability of a traffic collision will also increase, as we are all well aware that these collisions can be avoided if we take our time and exercise a little patience.
In his address, Commissioner of Police Colin John pointed out several areas that can be improved in the operations of the Traffic Department, such as punctuality and communication among officers and motorists.
Work and be more tactful when persons commit an offense, be traffic or otherwise. They do not commit the offense against you, and it's not anything personal. So when you go, say person stop where you're not supposed to stop, what you should do is go and speak to them politely, point out the offense to them, give them a ticket if you have to give them a ticket, and then say have a good day. You don't have to be aggressive or rude to them. You should also be punctual. Superintendent John and ESP Brown would know that every morning I listen religiously to 705 for the traffic talk, and when it is announced and they say, well, they were unable to get on to the traffic officers, I would call them immediately and say, well, who's supposed to be calling on 705 this morning? Some persons are paying for this program. Sponsors are utilizing their well-earned money to pay for this program. And we as traffic officers, we cannot renege on our duties. We have to ensure that we are there to perform that service. And I've asked persons to write a report. I've instructed that persons lose the leave for things of that nature. So I'm seeing it less frequently this time around.
The ceremony also heard from Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works Montgomery Daniel, who urged the traffic corps to communicate better with each other and members of the public.
I want to say to you that one has to be careful. And particularly in this organization, this discipline organization, one has to be careful. Because the eyes are always on you. It is important that when you speak, it is important to make sure what you speak is what you want to have communicated. Because there are 4 things that come not back. And one of them is a spoken word. And our actions as professionals sometimes are highly questioned, even in our style of communication. And we have to be careful. We have to be very, very careful.
Chief Magistrate Ration Brown also appealed to the officers of the Traffic Department to remain diligent and to seek out training opportunities.
I encourage all of you to remain diligent and stay active. I remind you that law enforcement officers have a special responsibility of being exemplary in terms of conduct. Avoid polluting your good work with elements of corruption at all times. I also want to encourage you to be driven and ambitious. Study, seek out added training opportunities. As an officer of the traffic department, you could one day become the commissioner of police. I am celebrating all of your achievements tonight, and I wish to encourage you to continue the good work.
In other local news now, we hear that the Essence National Secondary School Band Showcase was held on Saturday, March 25, 2023 at the cruise ship terminal, attracting some 200 participants from schools across the country. In his address to the gathering, Minister of Tourism and Culture, Carlos James, suggested that the showcase not only be held annually, but also during the summer vacation month of August. He also suggested a national exhibition event featuring young musicians and the school bands.
Just several things. And that is, we should not just make this an annual event, but during the summer break, where a lot of the children are home, we should use the August period to take this sort of event throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. At least one on the windward side or maybe the leeward side, so we can expose the young talent of our Vincentian creatives and our artisans to most of the people across the country. But one more thing I would want to suggest, and I'm highly recommending that this year is the year that we earmark our independence to have a national exhibition, an event following the Independence Day message in the Victoria Park. Perhaps in the evening we can come to an environmental atmosphere like this and have again our young people, the creative sector, the steel band, the orchestra, the National Youth Band and Orchestra, along with a number of the creativity that we have seen here from these students display again during the Independence Festival. All of these things, I'm quite certain the Ministry of Culture will take on board, and I'm hoping all of the sponsors who are listening would also join forces to make sure that these events become a reality.
The Bishop's College Kingstown Band came out on top in the Essence School Band Showcase on Saturday. Here's a snippet of their performance.
You used to promise to deliver us, guide us in every way. We gotta say thank you. And me not so thank him, but when hit me this morning, thank him for carrying me through the day. Thank him for all of his blessings. I would humble, I would never go astray. Thank you that I go the Almighty King, who give us a life and that's the greatest thing. I know God is real, and I can feel him so it's.
And the 2023 SVG Gospel Fest will be launched here tomorrow, Tuesday, March 28th, at the Peace Memorial Hall. The SVG Gospel Fest Committee said the 21st edition of the festival will run from April 2nd to the 30th. Tomorrow's launching ceremony will begin at 9:30 and with hairdressers from Chairman of the SVG Gospel Fest Committee, Leroy Brown, Chief Cultural Officer Maxine Brown, and representatives of the various sponsors. The program of activities for the 2023 festival will also be unveiled tomorrow.